A couple of days ago now, we had Trump's inauguration, and obviously, amongst the people that were whining and complaining about it, it was a bunch of, as you expect, Negroes whining and complaining about it, and mainly whining and complaining about all the other so called black people that were participating in it. Most notably rappers that they idol worship. But in a few weeks, we'll have the official inauguration that black people support. That being the welcoming home party for, or I should say concert, for criminal Big Meech, founder of the Black Mafia crime family. The guy that was responsible for pushing poison like cocaine in the community, as they like to say. His organization responsible for uh, trafficking, drugs, money laundering, killing people. But as we know, Negroes like to celebrate these types of people because that's what so called black culture is, celebrating degeneracy and thugs. I mean, a prime example of it is when you saw that poster going around the internet of Martin Luther King and Rosa Parks basically displaying a thug and a hoe. Because this is the sort of thing that Negroes support. And funny enough, a number of the rappers that performed at Trump's inauguration will perform at this concert, which is why I personally didn't care for uh, Trump's administration inviting Negro rappers that did nothing but talk crap about him in the first place, outside of few. But again, this is the sort of thing that's okay to celebrate, and you won't get any backlash. Endorsing and embracing criminals. And the only reason why this guy is as famous as he is because a lot of famous rappers have popularized him. Even rappers that don't even get along. Rick Ross, 50 Cent, they don't get along, but both of them have elevated this Big Meech guy. There's a sort of television universe built around him through 50 Cent elevating this guy. But that's what this genre of music is known for, that being rap, hip hop. And that's what Negroes identify as a significant part of the culture, hip hop, which is essentially a death cult that praises and elevates criminals and criminal activity. And you'll never be called a sellout for promoting those things, despite those things primarily negatively affecting other so called black folks. Which is why any and every Negro complaint about anything is an utter joke when this kind of nonsense is at the center of your so called culture, embracing, endorsing, and elevating criminals. And so that's why when you hear dumb Negroes talk about Trump and his felons, when they don't even know what the felons are, and guess what? They don't care. They don't care that it's obvious political warfare and bias. All they care about is repeating what the Democrat Party tells them to repeat. Because we know for damn sure Negroes not only don't care about someone being a felon, which in reality Trump's not, but even if he was, we know that they don't care because we see Negroes elevate and celebrate felons on a daily basis. And Big Meech is one notable example of that. But Negroes defend no name, broke criminals on a daily basis. Every time someone wants to address uh, crime or law and order and enforce more crime and punishment, the main people that will be complaining about that is so-called black people because they know that most of the violent crimes in America happens at the hands of blacks, followed by brown people. And again, this is with this Negro crime endangering their lives and the lives of their loved ones. And again, happening in Black History Month, very appropriate because Big Meech is viewed as a historical black figure, just like MLK and Rosa Parks. And the funny thing about it, people sort of make jokes about how MLK will react to Negroes now. Fact of the matter is, if he continued on, he would have shown himself to be just like every other civil rights Negro, which is supporting the degeneracy and criminality that maybe once upon a time they were critical of. But once they get their marching orders, they all regurgitate the same thing. Supporting this low life degeneracy mindset that elevates and promotes criminals, their crimes, and pretty much make heroes out of thugs. So, yeah. And plus, like, at the end of the day, there's no such thing as a black culture anyway. A culture based around a crayon color doesn't exist. I only use the term for the sake of conversation. But if it represented anything, this is what it represents: criminality and thuggery. Because that's what you see every day whenever something's getting elevated and viewed as culture, is always some ghetto hood rat nonsense. And that's why anybody in their right mind wouldn't want to be affiliated with that. Because again, it's not like you benefit off of any sort of significant protections, because as we know, if you live around Negroes like this, then you are at the most risk in life, especially if you're successful, which is why even Negroes like Big Meech, when they do decide to live somewhere, when they have the resources to, they move away from the so-called real niggas, which populates the entirety of the so-called black population. Chris Rock once upon a time distinguished between black people and niggas. Reality is, it's one and the same. And there's like less than a percent of outliers that don't reflect the unfortunate reality that the community or the culture represents.